Hello, friends. Welcome back to Block Bytes. Let's take a look at some of the main news from this past week, starting with the crypto market itself. The crypto market was down this week, and as you can see, there is a lot of red and there is a lot of green as well. Some of the obvious names like Solana and Injective and ARB are here. You also see SEA and Stacks in here, which have given a nice little run up. But overall, the market was kind of down, and because there was an outflow of funds from the crypto market. Let's take a look at that data point now. The CoinShares data for this week says that there was a minor outflow of around $16 million from the crypto market. And with this little blip in the negative, we see an end to this amazing 11-week continuous inflow into the crypto market. And most of the money has obviously gone into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. As you can see here, well, not in this chart particularly, but if you've been following my weekly news recaps, you would have seen that Bitcoin received most of those 11 weeks, which is obvious, right? But in this week, again, Bitcoin, most of the money came out of Bitcoin as well, followed by Ethereum. Solana was surprising. Out of the 12 million that came, so rather 16 million that came in, 10.6 actually went into Solana, which is which is amazing, and that's the reason why Solana is also going up continuously. But there are other reasons as well. We'll kind of look into those reasons as well. Some new stories coming out of Solana, that is. Okay, so let's move on to the first Solana related news. Circle, the company behind stablecoin USDC, will now issue EURC, the euro-backed stablecoin on Solana blockchain. For those who are not aware, just like USDC, there is a euro stablecoin for primarily to be used within the European Union, and that stablecoin was on Ethereum, Polygon, and I think Avalanche, if I'm not mistaken. But now Circle is going to deploy that on the Solana blockchain as well, which is good news. And there's obvious reasons, right? Solana is probably the cheapest and the fastest, not probably, it is the cheapest and the fastest blockchain when it comes to finance transactions, because you want finance transactions to be quick, snappy, and you don't want intermediaries to take a lot of fees, right? So that is great news. I am especially excited about it because being in the Euro region, I don't want to keep my money in the banks anymore. It takes 2 days to transfer money from one bank in the UK to another bank in the UK. Imagine that. So I want, as soon as this is done, this is almost done actually. I'm going to be using this blockchain to have part of my euro currency in Solana so that I can quickly use it whenever needed. So I think this is good news for Solana because slowly we are seeing that the stablecoin market in Solana is increasing. Euro will not hugely impact this because it, at least compared to the USDC, it's nowhere comparable in terms of the market cap. But nevertheless, the reason was that Circle is, I think, betting on the future. They're saying that they said that users will be able to securely hold savings in euro, which is exactly what I'm going to do, without the need of traditional bank offerings. And this is the little use case that they want to try and tap. And yeah, so this is good news for Solana, nevertheless. Let's move on to the next news related to Solana. RWA real world asset blockchain project Ondo Finance will be expanding its treasury option to Solana as well. So what does this mean? The US Treasury backed tokens usually offered by Ondo are on probably on Ethereum most of the times, or maybe on Polygon, but they will now also be available on Solana. So this is good news for Solana, and obviously for the same reasons that we've discussed in the previous news: high transaction speeds, low fees, and the tokenized assets will market in Solana is also going to heat up. Let's read this out. The tokenized US Treasury spearheaded this year's tokenization boom. Crypto native firms and big banks like JP Morgan, Citigroup are racing to bring more traditional assets such as bonds and credit on blockchain rails, eyeing for more efficient operations and lower costs. That is the key, right? So the whole brouhaha about RWA is of traditional finance companies and credit companies finding the efficiency gains that blockchain technology brings to them. So and with Solana, that is even higher compared to the other blockchains. So that is a no-brainer, if you ask me. Let's take a look at the RWA tracker just to see where the RWA as a space is heading. So it is, as you can see from this graph, it is increased since the beginning of the year. And it is only going to grow. Most of it is on Stellar and Ethereum. Yes, so it will be interesting to see how quickly Solana can ramp up and grow in size when it comes to the RWA space. All right, moving on. Immutable launches Passport, which is their interoperable tool across multiple video games and marketplaces. So the idea here was that if you're a gamer, then you have an account. You should be able to use that account to launch multiple games. And if there is the ability to share assets between games, that should also be seamless. So that was the whole idea behind the Passport tool. So let's read this particular part out. Our Immutable Passport tool is designed to simplify the sign-up process for players by providing them with a universal profile that enables them to carry their identity, achievements, digital assets across online games. Right, so it's like an account for all other accounts, right? So you have a Passport account, and with that same account, you will be able to sign up for different games, different Web3 games on their platform, which is using Immutable X platform. However, there is some interesting points that you need to understand. For instance, here it says it's unclear how digital assets between games, which are completely different, right? How can they be used? But I think that is, according to Immutable, that is not really the key point that they're targeting. They're targeting the user experience in terms of the sign-up process, the delays and everything. And they say that it's all about user acquisition, right? So for different games, so suppose there are 5 different games, they want the users to come in and start playing their games as soon as possible. So that sign-up process where they sign up and download the game and whatever is needed, if you can shorten that process and make it much more easier, then it'll attract and keep the users. Right, so that is what Immutable is most focused upon. It's not primarily about sharing of assets between the games. Now, of course, if there are games, like within the games, you have DLCs and different versions of the games, you can obviously share your assets between those games, which is anyways happening right now, I believe. If for gamers out there, I believe it's already there. So it's not a big deal from that perspective, but it is more about reducing the user acquisition time for the gaming companies. So here it's Daniel Page says that if you want to alienate gamers, ask them to create a wallet every time they sign up. So there you go. So sign up process, you have to create a wallet because we're talking about a Web3 game here. So instead of you creating different separate wallets, you just have one wallet now, the Passport wallet, and that will link to all the different games, which is a great thing. So great news for gamers out there, and it's, I think, one great step in the right direction for Web3 gaming. Moving on. Right. So we have another layer one blockchain that will now be moving on to to transition to a layer two. This time it is the Lisk blockchain, and it will become a layer two using the the Optimism stack. And they will use Gelato, which is a roll-up as a service platform, to quickly spin up this OP stack version of their blockchain, their layer two blockchain. Now, Lisk is an interesting blockchain. It was designed to focus on real-world assets and deepens digital physical infrastructure. However, it has not been successful. It was launched in 2017, and its market cap has declined by 83%. And I think Lisk feels that if it wants to survive, the only viable way for them is to become an EVM compatible chain, and the easiest way to do that is to become a layer two. I think this has been a common thread across all the different L1s that are coming into Ethereum. So my theory is that we are at the very beginning of this particular use case where layer ones are actually moving on to layer twos. And in that sense, the easiest examples would be those layer ones which are on the verge of getting extinct. So for them, it becomes an almost an a a no-brainer that if you want to survive, become in layer two. So what it does for Ethereum is it actually proves the concept of roll-up as a service, first of all, and it is um, obviously it adds up to the narratives of the modular blockchain and the roll-up centric blockchain for Ethereum, right? Now, again, you could argue that how much transaction and volume will it bring? That is obviously the thing, but in any case, the whole technology stack around the modular blockchains, which is the layer twos themselves, as well as the roll-up as a service frameworks running on top of them, that stack is getting tested, and it's going to get better with time. So when the time arrives that you have proper layer ones or big layer ones that really want to move on to they want to like reduce their costs and become a layer two, then the roll up as a service as well as these layer twos will become mature enough and experienced enough that would be the right time to switch. So that's what my theory is. But in any case, another example of a layer one moving on to layer two. Next. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I think let me just move this here. Yeah. So another this one's from Avalanche. So Masa, which is a decentralized data marketplace, I'll explain that in a minute, has decided that it'll create its own Avalanche subnet, right? So this is another example of here it is an application that is creating its own blockchain, right? So okay, let's talk about Masa first. So it says that it's a data network, which is it's a decentralized data marketplace. Data network Masa Finance, which describes itself as architecting the decentralized Google for the AI era. So these are the two keywords. Now, what has Google got to do with AI? AI needs data, and Google has probably the most amount of data there is out there, right? So what it's trying to do is it's trying to create a decentralized version of Google, which can then be used for different AI applications. So and for Google, here it obviously doesn't mean the search or the cloud or the YouTube, nothing of that sort, but just a pure data marketplace. So, so according to Masa, what they say is that they're building the largest zero-knowledge user data network in the world. So what this means is, now this is critical to understand. So how would Masa get all the data that it needs, right? As a user, you would connect to them, connect your wallet, and then you provide your information. And in return, you are given the guarantee that your information will remain private. And you can go through the white paper of Masa. There's a very structured way and a very nice way that they have created this solution. So using zero knowledge, your data will be shared with applications out there that then want the data. And with zero knowledge, as you're aware, none of your other information is shared with them. Only that little piece of information is shared so that keeps your identity private. So, so that is Masa. Now they've decided that they will create a customizable blockchain, which will handle high volumes and zero knowledge encrypted data efficiency and cost effectively. Now, why did they choose Avalanche? Here's the reason. Building on Avalanche using Ava Cloud, Masa is able to launch a gasless self-sovereign chain, which enables high throughput and transactions and powers use cases, right? So this is their idea. But just to give you a little thing, they were also funded by the Avalanche Foundation to create this blockchain on Avalanche, right? So I'm not saying that their intentions are wrong here, or it's something that is misleading. Obviously, it is quite possible that they actually like Avalanche and it actually serves their purpose. And to put the cherry on the top, so to say, they were funded by the foundation. So in any case, I think this is an interesting project to keep an eye on. Data is the bread and butter of AI, and at the moment it is all siloed, right? So you have the Googles, the Facebooks, and the WhatsApp, which is Meta, obviously. These silos which control all of your information, right? So to create a decentralized version of it, it's actually a very important application, a use case. And if Masa is able to pull it off for the entire crypto space and for the world in general, then it will be a great service to them. And it uses zero knowledge. So that will prove the technology, not that it requires to be proved, but it will make it more mainstream. And I think we could see a lot more happening in this front going forward. All right, next. Okay, so while there's a lot of Ethereum bashing happening on X, Tim Biko came out with the schedule for the EIP-4844 change, which is going to happen next year. So for those who need a refresher, EIP-4844 is what is called proto-dank sharding. And it is one step, it is the first step towards making transactions faster and cheaper for rollups, right? And everybody is actually waiting for this big change. And till now there was no idea when it's going to happen. People knew that it's going to happen in the first quarter of next year, but now at least we have the testnet dates. So Gurley testnet will move to will have the change deployed on it on the 17th of Jan, Sepolia on 30th of Jan, and Holsky on 7th. And then mainnet. The main point here is that if there are no issues, right? So assuming there are no issues, then these dates can be we'll probably have mainnet by March, maybe in March, which is pretty much what everybody guessed also, right? So great news coming out of Ethereum. So finally there is some direction some information for people like me. Moving on. So I'm going to end this weekly news recap by a positive news, by another positive news, that is. Nigeria's central bank has lifted the ban on crypto. So Nigeria had banned crypto, but recently, or rather, when was it? Today itself, right? Today itself, the central bank said that they are lifting the ban out on the virtual assets virtual assets, and they're issuing guidelines for VASPs like exchanges, etc. So this is the circular signal shift from the CBN's, which is central bank, original position, which restricted crypto transactions altogether. Now, I have a feeling that this has come out of the G20 meetings in which all the G20 nations collectively came together and adopted the IMF and the FSB framework on blockchains. And within that framework, it was suggested that a complete crypto ban is not recommended. And I think they've taken a cue from that and lifted the bans. And I think it's a very, very, very wise decision. I mean, not banning in the first place was probably wiser to begin with, but I don't blame them for that. But I think they should be congratulated on changing their stance, and banning crypto assets doesn't really make sense. I've been saying that for months and months now, that you can't really ban crypto assets in India, at least from an Indian context, even though our RBI chairman has been vehemently opposed of cryptocurrencies and wanted a ban, right? So kudos to our finance ministry to not giving into that rant. But Nigeria did the right thing, and I think we will see more and more of such regulatory news items going for in 2024. I covered this as one of the most surprising and promising news items in this year, the G20 one particularly, and in my latest video, and in that I said that next year we will see more news from a regulatory front, and lo and behold, we have started with Nigeria in this year itself, which is great news. All right, so that is all I have for this week's crypto news recap. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week with another crypto news recap. Till then, bye-bye.